Going to be doing today is we are going to be transplanting a few plants from in our garden. Yes, our garden is a little overgrown. It's that time of the year where fall kicks in and we just let our garden rest. So in my garden I have a few plants that have not quite germinated yet. Like there, that's a row of eggplants that haven't quite produced, so I'm going to be transplanting maybe one or two of those. And over here, my peppers, this is an entire row of peppers. They had a late start, so I am going to transplant at least two of those pepper plants, and they are going to be in the house all season. And hopefully with the temperature in the house and the sunlight, they will survive and produce and perhaps last all through the season. These are the buckets I'm going to be putting them in, and we're going to go over to our dirt pile and we are going to fill these buckets up with some dirt and back over to the garden and start our transplanting. So our dirt pile is right over there. And this is dirt that we dug up from an area where we have a project we're working on. So I'm going to get some dirt from here. Good dirt. So this dirt right here it's a mixture of clay and topsoil. It doesn't have that much nutrients, so I grab dirt out of the garden itself. So that's where we go. Alright, so these are the eggplants. Yeah, they haven't produced anything yet. So I figured if I save some, and it seems like we've got a bud that looks like a baby eggplant right there. And there's another baby bud there. Those I may leave. Over here I have a few more eggplants. These ones have flowers on it. There's a nice beautiful purple flower. And I think this one has a wee one on it. Right there. So, with fall creeping up on us, I don't think they'll have enough time or the right temperature to produce, so I'm just going to go ahead and transplant them now. Some good dirt right here that's overgrown a little bit, but it's usable. And I'm going to show you what I mean here in a second when I said that the dirt that I was going to initially use is not of good quality. So this is the garden dirt right here, and you see how this is rich and dark. So this is what we want. So when you're transplanting, you don't want to fill the bucket too much. You want it to be at least 3/4 ways filled, because you're going to make a well, especially if the plant is an older plant and has long roots. You want to make a well, and then you're going to put the plant in there, and then once the plant is set, you're going to go ahead and backfill it with as much dirt that you need all the way up to the rim. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to pick our first plant, and I think this is our lucky winner here. Or we can even go with that one, because it's not too far mature. And you can tell on this one, there are some buds. Don't know if it's gonna survive after the transplant, but it still has room, because there's new shoots there. There's still room for it to produce more buds. I'm gonna trim some of the leaves. All right, I'm gonna trim some of these leaves back. Didn't bring my shear. And then what we're gonna do, like this, we can trim this back as well. And trim this back also. And we are gonna get around it, loosen up the soil, because the whole purpose of this is to not break the root. Not to damage too much of the roots, especially the main shoot. We don't want to damage the main shoot for this plant. And you'll see what I'm talking about when I say main shoot. It's the main root for the plant. You don't want to damage that at all. And it's basically with any plants that you're doing, you don't want to damage any of the main roots. So I'm gonna come down and I'm gonna push up to help loosen it up a little. And as I push up, I'm gonna give the plant a little notch. Notching it up slightly, but be careful not to pull too hard, because again, don't want to damage the main shoot. Some people will say it would have been better to just dig a hole and use a shovel, but I like my handy tools. They give me a lot of leverage, and it's easier for me to work with versus having to work with big shovels. Right? And I can feel it already munching there. And then as you get the plant out, you don't want to just pull the plant and shake the dirt. If you can get the plant out with some dirt around it, that will be great. So this plant is already out, and I'm examining it to make sure that it didn't damage any main root system. So the main root is all the way over here. This is one of the main root, and it's still intact. So I'm gonna continue digging until I find it, and it comes out all the way up here. So this is what I was talking about main shoots. So at this point, I'm pretty much following the main shoot, and there it is. So that was the main shoot of this plant. And as I examine, there's a little nick off there. Not a major. There's another nick off there, not a major nick. But the main thing, this main shoot is intact, and all these little flagellar-like tiny root here, they're also good, because what's going to happen, they can absorb nutrients and moisture out of the soil and keep this plant going. So we're going to go ahead and transplant this into the pot. We're going to try to get it with some of the soil that it already had. And because this has such a long root, what you can do is just wrap it around the plant a little. Wow, look at that beautiful flower. So that's already in the pot. And then we're gonna go ahead and take some of the soil that it was in, and we're gonna basically go ahead now and fill the pot. And this is very good soil. Han worked on for about 2-3 years now to get our soil with this consistency and richness, I should say. If you haven't seen our past videos, in our past videos he spoke about soil to this consistency. So there you have it. That is the first transplanted eggplant that I've done. And yes, it's a reusable plant pot, Southern Living. My husband was into the construction work. A lot of his sites had plant pots, and he knew how much I love planting, so he brought me numerous plant pots for recycling purposes. So yes. And here is a beautiful flower. So I'm gonna go ahead and water this plant. It's currently 70 degrees, but it gets down to about 40. So this plant will now be in the house, and it'll be my winter house plant. It's really good to have plants in the house. One of the good reasons for having plants in your home is it's a very balancing factor. I'm not sure if many people are aware. When we breathe out carbon dioxide. Plants use that carbon dioxide, and they give off oxygen. So it balances out. Fascinating. You know, the cycle of life. So in my home, I always have several plants. So I'm going to go ahead and transplant a few more.